All right, so today I want to talk about humidity, and not only humidity in your reptile room, but humidity in your entire house. And I actually set up a little reptile room down here in the basement of my house, breeding ball pythons, and I decided to bring in an all-room humidifier and bring up the humidity to about 65%. And let me tell you, there's no way you can keep the humidity in your reptile room. It's going to go out of the room and get into the rest of your house. As a matter of fact, I actually keep the door closed. I keep a towel under the door. And unless you keep your snakes in like a bubble or something like that, you're going to get humidity throughout your entire house. And let me tell you, that humidity can be very damaging over the years. And after about 6 or 7 years, I realized it was doing a lot of damage to my house. And one of the first things that I noticed is that in the winter, especially on a really cold day, the humidity would build up on the windows, turn into ice, and when it would melt, it would drip down the windows and get on the window frame. And we have wooden window frames up here pretty much in every window in our whole house. And wet wood long term, that is not a good combination. And what actually happened it's about after 6 or 7 years, it was a few years ago, we had this problem. We actually got mold on our windows, on the window frames around all the windows. It was crazy. We were running around spraying all the windows with white vinegar. Apparently, white vinegar kills mold, and we sprayed them for weeks until we got that under control, which is pretty crazy. Another problem we had was with our furnace. We actually have a natural gas furnace that runs throughout the whole house, and we had this really weird glitch on the furnace where sometimes it would turn on and sometimes it would refuse to turn on. We go to the thermostat and we turn it up and the furnace wouldn't come on. And I replaced the thermostat a couple times. We had the HVAC guys out here. They replaced a whole bunch of parts and it was still acting crazy. And we finally figured out it was from too much humidity. I don't know if it was like affecting the circuit boards on the furnace or exactly what was going on. But yeah, that was one of the craziest things. Another thing where we had significant problems with the humidity is we're actually on a well system up here in the mountains of Colorado. So we actually have a well where we pump our water out of the well and it goes through our plumbing system. And coming out of that well, it's the water is super cold. It's like ice cold coming out of that well. And especially the pipes right where it comes out and goes into the rest of the plumbing, the pipes that are closest to that well are the coldest and they condense all the humidity. And as a matter of fact, I had one little spot down here in the basement. It's kind of like a half unfinished basement where I pulled one of the ceiling tiles off of the ceiling. We were kind of doing something up there from the plumbing. I just left the ceiling tile off, and you can see literally there's like drips of water on the pipes. And I didn't think it was going to be that much of a problem until I realized, like 6 or 7 years later, what actually was happening was those drips. It wouldn't really drip to where it was like pooling up or getting the carpet wet or anything like that. But what was happening is they were evaporating and making like this little microclimate of high humidity, and that little microclimate right by my well, right by the coldest pipe, was actually right next to my wire shelving with all my canned food that I had stored down there. And I realized after a few years that all my shelves started rusting really bad. It's just like all of a sudden I noticed all my shelves are rusty, all my canned foods all rusty. And we had to, believe it or not, we actually had to throw out all the shelving and all the canned food and completely start over. And the thing that we went to was an all-house dehumidifier that changed everything. It's definitely a lifesaver. Let me tell you, if you have a reptile room and you're running a full, full all-room humidifier and bringing the humidity up, you definitely need a dehumidifier. So I'm going to show you that dehumidifier. I want to show you where I place it, what settings that I put it on, and the efficiency. That thing is pretty amazing. It'll pull some serious water out of the air. All right, so this is down here in my laundry room with our washer and dryer. Keep my little Blue power station, water softener, filter from the well water, some salt, and you're probably wondering, what is this big black box right here? This is a huge dehumidifier, and this thing is the bomb. Let me tell you, this thing can pull an incredible amount of water. I think it can pull out like 15 gallons a day out of the air, which is kind of crazy. You kind of have to be careful of this because it has a compressor in it like a fridge, so you don't want to start it after it's been turned on its side, kind of like you're supposed to let it sit for like 24 hours before you start it up. But it's been incredible. This thing is on 26 right now, 26% humidity in here. So it's set on normal, which is I didn't realize how dusty it was. And I'm changing all the settings, just wiping it off. Yeah, this is set on normal, which is 35%. So if the humidity gets above 35%, this kicks on and it just collects the humidity of all the water it collects down here in this bucket. And this kind of gets a little bit stinky. I'd say I actually put hydrogen peroxide in there to keep the bacteria down. So it keeps it nice and clean with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, which is nice. So when this fills up, it'll actually stop and it won't rush anymore. But on the other side, you can actually, it's nice, it's on wheels too. It weighs about 45 pounds. This thing is a beast. I've never seen a dehumidifier like this one. On the back, it has this little tube right here, and you can actually hook up. I have some tubing over here. You can hook this up, and it will bypass the tub in the bottom, and it will continually drain this. I have it kind of snaked along here over to a drain in my floor over by my my water heater, my furnace over there. So if it's really super humid, another thing this is good for is if you spill something, like if you have a major spill, usually I just kind of soak it up with a towel, use my carpet cleaner to soak up the rest, and then put this by my carpet, and it'll dry the carpet. It'll dry. As a matter of fact, if you have like wet laundry, you can hang it up in here, and you can turn this on. You can switch the mode to continuous, which will bring it down to like 15%. So that's what it sounds like. It's not too loud either. So standing back here, you can't even hardly hear it at all. And that thing, I can't believe when I first plugged it in, I was like emptying that thing, like I was getting like 5 gallons a day on continuous mode, and it was just like sucking the moisture out of the walls. It was unbelievable. And what I was actually doing is I was emptying it into here, into a 5-gallon carboy there. And then I had like multiple 5-gallon carboys down here. And then when one got full, I'd fill up another one. Got another one right over here. And they were filling up quick. I couldn't believe how much I was pulling out of the air. And then we got to the point where I just put it on 35%. And it's been working great. We don't have any problems with high humidity. The problem is if you get too low, if you run on a continuous, you can drive this down to like 15%. And at 15%, we started coughing, which is kind of a lot of coughing. I was like, what in the world's going on? And everyone in my family's like coughing all the time. And it was because the air was so dry that you need a little bit of humidity in there. Another thing that I kind of avoid on this humidifier is moving it while the compressor is running. So I'll actually turn it off, let the compressor stop, and then I'll move it around. I've heard some people had failures, and I'm thinking it might be from that compressor running while you're kind of moving it around with the compressor on. So I'll leave an affiliate link down below so you can check it out on Amazon. I think I paid like $240 or something like that. Well, let me tell you, if you have a reptile room, that is essential. So I've seen a lot of videos over on YouTube that address the issues with ball pythons and humidity, specifically looking at the problems, with the shedding and all that, but I've yet to see a video that actually addresses the problems with the humidity getting out of the reptile room and going into the rest of your house. So I thought I'd throw out this video just to give you an idea of what to expect if you have a reptile room with really high humidity. So keep in mind, I actually have a discount code below for Rodent Pro, 10% off, and also for Rare Genetics coming soon. I don't have it yet, but pretty soon I'll actually have a promo code for 25% off ball python DNA testing. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.